Good morning. We're just going to give folks a moment to enter from the waiting room and connect to audio so we can make sure everybody can hear us. As a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman of the Board, Kathleen Joyce.
Thank you, Danny. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I'm Chair of the Boston Licensing Board. And today I am joined by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon.
Thank you. And just one piece of scheduling housekeeping before we get started. Due to scheduling conflicts, the voting hearing for the licensing board this week will take place tomorrow, October 4th at 1:30 p.m. Notice has already been posted to the city's website. Again, the board will vote tomorrow, October 4th at 1:30 p.m. For this morning's hearing, please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly. We'll call each item in the order it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the chair and commissioners. Again, all testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Begin with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, Old Trafford Inc. doing business as Paradise, located at 967 Commonwealth Ave, dated the incident May 8th, 2023. Underage drinking, intoxicated on premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Attorney Green, Madam Chair, members of the board. Dennis Quilty, attorney representing the licensee. With me this morning from ownership, Joseph Dunn and Declan Megan, and the general manager of the establishment who was present on the night in question, William Guerra. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Good morning. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. This is Sergeant Nemes from District 14.
Great. Thank you, Sergeant Nemes. We can hear you just fine. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Sergeant Nemes, can you please raise your right hand as well?
Sorry, I'm just learning the buttons.
Great. Thank you very much. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Nemes, if you could please proceed with reading the police record into the police report into the record for us.
You got it, sir. Good morning. So the narrative here, about 8:36 p.m. on Monday, April 8th, 2023, officers Nunez and Hooker will assign to the Kilo K02 Frank on-site at a sick assist at Paradise Rock Club located at 967 Commonwealth Ave, Alston. The Kilo 416 Frank, Officer Lowe, and the Kilo 916 Sergeant Nemes, which is me, assisted with the call. The staff of Paradise Club alerted officers to 20-year-old Zemaya Benjamin, who was found to be in and out of consciousness, laying face down on a table vomiting. With Benjamin was his cousin Qui Joseph, who officers observed was also drinking. Joseph told officers that Benjamin had a few drinks and was smoking. Officers radioed for EMS to respond to the scene, and ambulance A14 with EMTs Reichel and Wong. Benjamin was transported to St. Elizabeth's Hospital for further evaluation. The staff of Paradise Club were very helpful with their care of the victim. The staff was also understanding in the officer's duty to cite them. Sergeant Nemes completed a citation for underage alcohol consumption, citation number 024654. And remarks should be complete on that narrative, sir.
Thank you very much. Attorney Quilty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
If I may, just a couple of quick questions for the sergeant.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thanks, Sergeant. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Wrote out and handed to the staff the inspection notice that night. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir. In hand to one of the members of.
To Mr. Guerra, who's here this morning. He's the person who signed it, it appears.
If you say so, sir. I can't recall exactly.
All right, no, just it's his name appears for who accepted
Okay.
it. And you indicated in that report where the police called yes, by whom? Paradise Lounge. And
Correct.
indicated that they cooperated with the police.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
And just one question about the individual. Of the two individuals, it would appear from the dates on the police report that the cousin, Quay Joseph, was of age.
Based on the report, yes, I would agree with you, sir.
And the report indicates that he is the one who was observed drinking. Did anybody make any observations about Zamani Benjamin having an alcoholic beverage or drinking, or did you observe any such thing?
If you're asking whether or not I actually saw the victim with like alcohol in their hand, then the answer would be no.
Okay. And there was an indication from the cousin that the underage person, it states in the report, had a few drinks and was smoking, but it doesn't.
Correct.
It doesn't indicate where that took place.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. And as your report indicates, the staff were helpful. They assisted the victim. They assisted with your investigation, and the person was transported to the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And even to take it just a step forward, sometimes the Paradise Rock Lounge, like they have busy concerts there, and we just, post cars up there for safety reasons. And the only reason I mention that is historically, the entire staff of the Rock Lounge has always been extremely helpful, friendly, and if there's anything that's ever gone wrong, they are, in my opinion, have handled things professionally and are always extremely courteous with members of the Boston Police Department.
Thank you, sir. And would that have been the case on this night in question?
Yes, that would have also been the case.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions. Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Guerra, who's with us today, was present, signed the violation notice. He's the one who directed staff to call the police. He was there assisting at the time, and would certainly be open to any of the questions the board might have. We believe that this person was smoking something outside of the establishment and got physically sick once he was inside, but we have that's all we know, really. There was no indication that he was drinking or certainly was not smoking inside the establishment.
Is that it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's at 8:36 p.m. on a Monday night. You're stating that this person had consumed no alcohol on presence.
We do not believe he did. It was the only indication that he had ingested anything was the statement from the cousin. There was no observation made by BPD or by our staff that he had drunk any alcoholic beverages.
Okay, so the cousin was observed drinking.
According to the report.
Okay.
We don't know. Yeah, like the report says who officers observed was also drinking. That's the cousin.
Okay, officer, you observed the cousin drinking?
Respectfully, ma'am, I do not recall.
Okay. Okay.
And this was in the lounge area, not in the performance space, if you will. This is where there's a full restaurant, etc. And they were in a booth in that.
How many people were in there roughly? And how many security?
Bill?
In the lounge at the time, there was probably about, I would say, 30 patrons. And when I was called down, I found at least 4 security guards were involved in the incident at this point.
Okay, are any of them here today?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, what did they say happened?
Basically, what's in the report is exactly the information I've received from them, that this patient was discovered in the lounge, in the booth, having difficulty in and out of consciousness. A garbage barrel had been brought over to assist, so they were vomiting, the patron was. So and then as soon as I was called down, EMS was called, and the officers who had been with us during the evening were inside as well.
Okay, so did any of the 4 security officers who were working security in a room with about 30 patrons have any recollection how long that this person was there with his cousin before they started to vomit and have their head placed face down on a table?
One of the security officers told me that, and I think the information came from the cousin. He claimed that they had only been there for about 20 minutes.
Okay, and no cameras?
We do have interior cameras.
And did you have an opportunity to go and review them to see how long the person had been here?
I have not yet.
Yeah.
I'm unfortunately on vacation and did not realize that today was the date until yesterday. So that's my fault.
Attorney Quilty, did anyone preserve the video?
Madam Chair, I do not know. It appears there was no follow-up. There appears to have been no request, by detectives, if you will, to preserve any video. And again, I mean, there was very little, just very little for us to see. Our belief was that this happened, that they ingested stuff outside. This was before the show had actually started, and there really wasn't much other than that to show.
What is Paradise's policy on preserving video in general and when they receive a licensed premise violation?
So if we believe there's value, if we're asked by police to preserve the video, I export it to a format we can keep it for them for a length of time. The cameras do automatically overwrite. I believe it's every 30 days. So I didn't preserve the video for this because I honestly was not requested.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Curran and then Commissioner Saxon.
I mean, may I say, Madam Chair, just momentarily, that if the board would like us to preserve video of any incident wherein there's a write-up, we'll be happy to do that.
I think that would be helpful to everyone. Yeah.
Bill, you can take care of that?
Yep, not a problem.
My first question is, were you screening for age for this event and through the lounge this evening?
Absolutely. We only allow entry through one door at the venue. You need to pass through security check and the ID check before you can have access to the lounge or the performance space. So everyone is screened. The cousin was given a wristband because he's over 21. The victim, if you will, was not given a wristband, was given a black X to indicate they are under 21. One of my security directors did say that it looked to them like he had tried to scrub that X off before we saw him. We can't say that for sure, but it's likely a lot of people do try to do that.
Okay, did anyone in your staff say that they recalled being the one that screened him at the door? So we knew what he was like when he's coming in?
I can certainly talk to staff who was working the door that night.
Yeah, I think a statement to that effect would be helpful.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really relevant here is, how he showed up really, even
Right.
especially he was only there for 20 minutes,
Yeah. And oftentimes they do, it's not uncommon for someone to make it through the ID check and the security checkpoint because they've taken something that kicks in within 15 to 20 minutes. We see this quite often.
Yeah, that makes sense. But if you could get anything to that effect, I'd like to hear about it. Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually did have a similar question, but then also, what is your policy about how you monitor for pass-offs?
We have the best we can do is we have our bartenders who are very aware, and they're always looking for this. If it's an all ages event, you're only allowed to get 1 drink per wristband. The security roaming staff is constantly on the lookout for this. We make it a very high priority because we know that it's, you know, it's something that happens. And so they're constantly circling and looking for exactly that. And then we have guards posted on both sides of the stage that have a pretty good view of the crowd in the pit area. And they're also constantly on the lookout for that kind of thing.
Thank you. Anything further from the board?
Yeah.
Thank you. It sounds like there is a request to check with the door staff, security guards, as to whether there are any statements regarding checking this individual when they first came in. Anything else requested from the board at this time?
We will make sure to do that. I just would like to say in closing that I think the board knows that this licensee has an exemplary track record in terms of security and assisting patrons, and most importantly, cooperating with the Boston Police Department, and specifically District 14. They have there are thousands and thousands of people that attend these shows every year at this club, and your records will indicate that this licensee has an exemplary positive track record, and we will continue to do so and cooperate with the board and the Boston Police Department. And we will turn over, Mr. Guerra will interview those staff members and will provide that information to you.
Thank you, Attorney Quilty. The board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 2, Unity Sports and Cultural Club, Inc., doing business as Unity Sports, located at 10 Dunbar Ave in Dorchester. Date of the incident, April 4th, 2023, patron-on-patron assault, shots fired in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Michael Ford here for Unity Sports Cultural Club, Inc. And with me is the Vice President and Board of Director, Sean Cooper.
Thank you. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective John Burrows from District 3.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Detective, is it possible to turn your camera on so we can steer you in?
I'm trying.
Okay. Great. Something should have just popped up on your phone. I just asked you to start video. And in the meantime, I'll ask, are there any other individuals present who, with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident, who wish to testify this morning? Great, can you both please raise your right? Oh, sorry, was that someone?
Oh.
Additional? No, thank you.
No, Sean Cooper. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I see Mr. Cooper and Sergeant Detective Burrows. Thank you. You're both raising your right hand. Do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Detective, if you could please proceed with reading the police report into the record.
Sure. I'm going to read Police Incident Report 232-05057. About 02:13 hours on Saturday, April 4th, 2023, numerous units from District 3 responded to a shot spotter activation in the area of Dunbar Street and Moody Street in Dorchester. This incident was documented under incident number 232-025-056. On arrival, officers and detectives observed a large crowd exiting Unity Club at 10 Dunbar Street. Officers spoke to several patrons who wished to remain anonymous, that stated that as the crowd exited the Unity Club, a fight between 2 groups of women broke out. As a result, an unknown individual went to his car on Moody Street, pulled out a firearm, and fired 3 shots into the air. No description of this suspect was given. The suspect then fled in a vehicle down Moody Street away from the club. Detectives located and processed 3 cartridge casings in front of 11 Moody Street. As a result, Sergeant Detective Burrows conducted a Code 35 license inspection of the Unity Club. Sergeant Detective was met by the manager, Sean Cooper, and directed to the licensing board. All permits were in order, and Mr. Cooper was cooperative with the police. The Unity Club was cited for patron-on-patron assault, citation number 21528.
Thank you very much. Attorney Ford, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Very few questions for the Sergeant Detective. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
The police were called, correct?
Yes.
And specifically with respect to this, you don't have any personal knowledge with what actually transpired, correct?
No, we weren't there. No.
And the licensee was very cooperative, Mr. Cooper was?
He always is, yes.
And was there any, I don't know if you handled this or someone else, there was some work with the Boston Police to discuss different ways of exiting the cars and the use of sawhorses? Is that in your memory at all, or did you?
That'd be news to me.
Okay, all right, we'll do that later. Sergeant Detective, thank you very much for your time. I just have one witness, that is Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper, would you introduce yourself to the board?
Good morning. My name is Sean Cooper. I'm currently on the board of directors of Unity Sports and Cultural Associations, and I also serve as vice president of the organization.
And were you the head of the floor security that evening?
On that particular night, I was the head of floor staff and personnel for Unity.
Okay, and can you describe what was going on the inside, the atmosphere or whatnot?
It was a normal night. It was a pretty jovial night. There was no incidents at that moment. Right around 1:45 when our lights usually turn on, about 10 minutes after when the music turns off, about 1:55, that's when I began to hear what sounded like a verbal argument between two ladies. And I actually went to the exit to go ahead and see that.
How many floor staff and how many security were working that evening?
All right, six security, one armed and five unarmed, and then five floor staff from Unity Sports and Culture Association, including myself.
All right, and it was at the end of the night, was it around 1:50 a.m. that you heard something outside?
Yeah, somewhere around there, 1:50, 1:52, somewhere around there is what I recall.
And what did you see? What did you observe?
So I observed, so we usually have a security guard there in the entrance heading towards our parking lot. That's the entrance we allow patrons to exit out on. So at the time when I got there, there was two ladies, one a daughter and one a mom, I guess having like a verbal altercation, and our security was there. So myself and one of our floor staff reps came to kind of figure out what was kind of taking place. At some point, they kind of agreed to disagree at that point, the two ladies, and exited probably about 8 or 10 minutes right after that, exited the parking lot area to head onto the street towards their respective cars in two separate directions at that point.
You were watching them because there was a verbal altercation, correct?
Yeah, we were watching them. We had one of our staff kind of walk them onto the sidewalk heading east towards Washington Street on Dunbar, and I guess the mother was parked further down on the other end, west on Dunbar Avenue.
Okay, and you watched them drive off until they couldn't be seen anymore without incident?
Well, the incident that took place happened as they were walking, so they were both, still in our vision as they were walking. So our attention was more on them than actually the actual vehicle that passed by with the shooting.
And how many staff how many security and floor staff were outside at that time?
All right, so we had 4 security at that point in time outside. Inside there were about 3 security, and then floor staff outside. It was myself and 2 others from floor staff out on the street to usually help out along with moving folks along on the sidewalk.
And after the women had driven off, about how much later did you hear something?
It was exactly at the same exact time. They were still actually on foot when we actually saw kind of like the flash on the corner of Moody, because our parking lot actually faces Moody Street. So like we can see the vehicle, we can see the flash, and then we can see like a light colored vehicle go head down Moody Street. So it happened right around the same time, from what we believe has to be related to the ladies, because they were still on foot.
Was there any indication that something like this was going to happen?
No.
Okay.
No. It definitely caught us off guard.
How was the demeanor of everyone else other than these 2 women that had nothing to do with this sound and flash?
Everyone was I mean before the incident, obviously, folks were a little shaken, but during the event and throughout the night, everything was pretty jovial, as I like to put it, right? No incidences, no arguments, nothing at all.
And this is a community center, right? What is Unity Sports and Cultural Center?
All right, we're a nonprofit social organization that's probably exists for about 40 years, and part of what we do is to allow immigrants and also their friends and supporters meet and also have a place to gather. And then on that particular night, we had a concert, and we had an artist that came by to kind of perform.
And when you heard when you saw the flash, you heard the cracker sound. What did you immediately do?
Yeah, initially it sounded like a firecracker, and I did see, and again I was standing right at the gate when I saw the vehicle pull off. But when we looked up, we kind of saw like smoke going in the air.
What did you do?
Say it again.
What did you? I think just we'll ignore that, Mr. Cooper. What did you are everything? Who did you call?
Security called the police, right? And I gotta believe someone else must have called too, because they were there like in 3 minutes, like right after.
Since this has happened, just sort of ask you, is there anything that you're doing, changing methods and means of how you handle security and events?
Right. As far as a change right now, I mean, we've always had a standing order for a police detail, at least 2. Our staff has always walked the streets to kind of get people on foot to move along on Dunbar Avenue, Moody Street, some of the narrow streets and some of Washington Street. But in addition to that, since I want to say since August, with the help of Boston Police, we were able to attain some police horses to kind of control traffic. I feel like, or basically what we're trying to put in places where we have our staff on Dunbar and Moody at that point where the car kind of turned off, as kind of a visual, and also to kind of deter folks from going back and forth on the street, just to head out on Moody Street and away from the premises. So we have been utilizing that to temporarily, make that street less accessible in both directions.
And you're going to use security outside to monitor the street and the parking lot?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, security has always been in the exit area, and that's in the parking lot. But I guess the change is going to be the police now on the corner of Moody and Dunbar, right where that active area can be, right in front of 11.
Okay. And then, and you have a continued standing order for a detail at the Boston Police Department?
We do.
Okay. I have no other questions from Mr. Cooper. I do have just a couple of things to say in closing. This licensee, it operates a safe, operation. This was a totally unforeseen situation. It's a total outlier. When it did happen, the staff immediately addressed it. You had at least 2 telephone calls to the 911 from the licensee. It was outside of the inner operation, unusual. Licensee is very aware that it has to control the safety and disturbances outside of its presence, its premises. That's why it has the security it has. Worked with the Boston Police Department to come up with creative solutions to maximize traffic flow using the so-called the blue sawhorses. And they want to obviously make sure that nothing ever happens like this, given the nature of the operation. It's just would be a danger to public safety, and B, totally not within the mission of what they're doing. And I just ask that the board take into consider all of this when you deliberate tomorrow.
Thank you. What do you do for checking as patrons come in as far as security?
We have 3 security dedicated to the entry on most of the nights. On that night, we have someone to kind of make announcements for folks to, look out for no smoking paraphernalia or anything of that nature, and also to make sure that their IDs are out. It's usually one of your staff. That's usually one of our staff. And then as far as we have 2 persons at the check-in point that get frisked on that night.
Do you frisk every night, or was this?
Every night.
Okay.
There's in the night we don't frisk.
So I want to talk about the armed security. Are you aware you're not allowed to have armed security without approval from the board?
I'm not aware.
Okay, so you need to notify the board in writing that you have armed security.
Okay.
That places our police officers and any police officer in danger if they don't know when they enter a premise whether or not security has guns and security is armed. So
Okay.
that is number one, an issue that we have. And you need to notify us that immediately. So you're saying you did have people frisking at the door?
Yes, we did.
And obviously they didn't find any guns on anyone as they were entering.
No.
And was this a particular, what kind of entertainment, what did you have this evening?
It was a performance from an artist.
Okay, was it like a special crowd, a private party, or was it just open to the public? I know you're
No,
not.
it was open to the public that night.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm gonna defer the rest of my time to Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon.
My only question is, what was done to, if you could at all, identify who had done the shooting? Was it someone who had left, like by what car, you know, that kind of thing?
Okay. Well, I think at that point, and to identify someone, I think right around the time it happened, I think the initial shock, you know, kind of allowed us. I mean, I saw kind of like a visual myself personally of a vehicle, like a light colored vehicle, kind of head down the street. I went to look at the cameras. The cameras don't really go that far onto Moody Street to actually catch it, right? It's more so on our premises, our lot, and probably like the sidewalk, you know, but not much more. It doesn't even point at 11 Moody Street. I mean, I'm past that. I don't think I had much resources to kind of quickly identify it. At the time it was happening, it was more so, I guess the initial concerns of folks who were still coming out and also the folks who were on the street. But I didn't really, you know, past that, I don't think I really had much that I could do at that point to kind of ID the vehicle itself.
Yeah, but did you inquire of your staff? Did anyone?
Yeah.
Did anyone have any idea whether or not the shooter was a patron who had just left?
Say that one more time. Let me just.
I'm asking whether the shooter was a patron who had just left.
I spoke to all security and staff to see if they can ID the vehicle, because it was a vehicle. It wasn't anyone on foot or anything like that. It was someone actually in a vehicle, right? I was there at least for that portion of it. I did ask security to see if they can kind of ID anyone in that vehicle, or if they even saw the vehicle, if they got any wind of it, and to no avail. And that happened literally within minutes of it all happening, and right before Officer Bowles actually appeared, just to find out. And then the next day, I called the head of security to see if he can also speak to his staff to see if they can, you know, it's important to kind of see if we can kind of catch, I guess, whoever perpetrated that at the point.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So where are your cameras? Is there a parking lot? Did you say there was a parking lot across?
Yeah. No, we're the parking lot. So what it is, and you know, I don't know if you guys allow this, but I actually have a map of our lot in Moody Street, so you can kind of get an idea. Let me just share it with you real quickly. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes.
Let me just wait for this preview thing to kind of go away. All right. So, you know, this is our building right here. And this is Moody Street, and this is Dunbar, and this is Unity. This is our lot. This area right here is our lot. And here's the exit, which patrons exit the building out of at the end of an event. And it actually goes on to our lot. So the argument or the conversation between the ladies were around here, right in this area, right? And they, after their argument had ended, like I said, one of the ladies went on east. I think it was the daughter, and the mother went west onto Dunbar Avenue. And as she's walking away, I'm standing right here. Again, another one of our floor staff is standing right there, and they kind of turn onto Moody Street, like right around this area, right in front of that building, like right in front of that apartment building, which I believe is 11, is where we heard the sound. We saw the flash, and we saw the sound, and then he just went straight down. So
the car was not in the lot?
no, the car was not in the lot at all. If they were in the lot, they would have ran probably right into us, because we were right in the opening of the lot. Here's our gate from here to here, right before the sidewalk. So the car was coming down from the school area, Wentworth Terrace, which turns into Dunbar, and they turned left onto Moody Street.
Do any of your patrons park on the street, or they only park in the lot?
They park on the street, Wentworth Terrace, but on that particular night, our lot usually closes right around 10:30 for staff. It's primarily for staff. That's what we use that lot for, because we can't necessarily accommodate for much more than, a certain amount of vehicles. So at that point, it was just our staff and the like the equipment staff and things like that park in the lot. And there weren't any patrons parked on the lot at that point. They were all on the street. And our cameras, like I said, we have a camera somewhere in this area right here, and it points really to the sidewalk, right? Like it wouldn't even go that as far as, where, the fires were, the shots were fired somewhere around there. Or at the time, like I said, we thought it was firecrackers, but, then, we saw, like I said, we saw the smoke, and then we saw people move. So.
Can I ask you a question? In the police report, Sergeant Detective said that 3 cartridge casings were found in front of 11 Moody Street. Where is 11 Moody Street compared to your address is 10 Dunbar Ave? Can you just show me where?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me one second. I'll go back to sharing it. Oh. 11 Moody Street. It actually is on both. It actually touches both Dunbar Avenue, so it has to be this corner right here, the Dunbar Avenue, and Moody Street. So it has to be the first house.
Would that be correct, Sergeant Detective?
Yeah, it actually might even be the second address on the left if you're coming from Dunbar up Moody.
Okay.
Google shows it as the second, actually. It's further north on Moody.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 3, ATG Inc., doing business as Cleary's, located at 331 to 335 Columbus Ave. Date of the incident, April 30th, 2023. Assault and battery, staff versus patron, 911 called in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, Chapter 265, Section 13A. Assault and battery, employee on patron in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. And assault and battery, patron on employee in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Sheldon Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Sean Wallace.
Officer Gregory Rice. Officer Rice. Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report into the record?
Officer Rice.
Thank you. You may please proceed.
About 1:40 a.m. on Sunday, April 30th, 2023, Officer Rice in the Delta 411 Alpha responded to a radio call for assault and battery report at 113 Dartmouth Street, Clary's Bar. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the victim, later identified as Christopher Norton, date of birth 8/2/2000, The victim told the officer that he and some friends were in the basement of Cleary's bar and some men were trying to pass through he and his group of friends. Mr. Norton said that he stopped the men from passing through his group of friends and was immediately grabbed by one of them by the throat and dragged up the stairs. Mr. Norton claims that he was unaware that these three individuals were security for the bar on the way up the stairs. Mr. Norton told the officers that he grabbed one of the men and there was a brief struggle before he was ejected. Mr. Norton told the officer that he had pain in his right shoulder and EMS was requested. The officer then spoke to Derek Servals, date of birth 11/4/89, who was the GM of Cleary's bar. He told the officer that he was obstructing his employees from working downstairs and was being ejected, and a brief struggle ensued as he was being escorted out. Beauport Ambulance Alpha 06 on scene and transported the victim to BMC for further evaluation.
Thank you very much. I believe there is a supplemental as well. Is that going to be read in or?
Correct. On May 13, 2023, license premise inspection notice 026501 was handed to General Manager of Cleary's, Derek Servals. Violation is for the initial employee on patron assault. On May 13, Detective Wallace spoke to Cleary's employee, Paul Tabatu, who stated that he was working on April 30th, and the initial complainant, Christopher Norton, placed his hands on Tabatu and attempted to pull his jacket off. So a second violation of patron on employee assault was added to the violation notice. Detective Wallace will further investigate this matter.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cohen, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, I wasn't there. Derek is on vacation. That's why I'm here, but I did speak to Derek last night. He told me that Paul, who is a barback, not security, was coming through the basement with one of the security guys. He had 2 cases of beer in his hands, and this person stopped him from coming through and pushed him while he was carrying the beer and stuff. So they were walking him out of the basement, up the stairs to get him out, and the kid pushed the security guys as well, and they had to kind of take him out until they got outside and they called the police.
Thank you. Anything further, or should we move to questions from the board?
Go.
Great. Thank
Questions
you,
are fine.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any questions, beginning with Chairwoman Joyce.
So in the basement of Cleary's, can you describe what's down there? There's a room, bathrooms, and then what is it, storage?
No, the basement is actually, there's a bar down there, and that's like the dance room. There's DJ there on Friday and Saturday nights.
Okay, and what else is down there? Just the
Yeah, there's storage, and there's the dish room and stuff that's all in the back of the house, but there's bathrooms, dance floor, bar, couple of TVs.
So the bar back was trying to go back upstairs with beer, and then this
He was coming from the storeroom to the bar with 2 cases of beer. You have to cut across the whole room. The bar is exactly opposite of the storage areas.
And what was the patron doing? He was just
They were just down there as customers, normal, but they wouldn't let the bar back through, and then kind of push the bar back. Because he was trying to get through, but the bar back had 2 cases of beer in him. He had a security guy with him trying to, get him through the crowd, and that's when they started moving the kid out up the stairs.
And did he describe the brief struggle or grabbing him at all when you talked to him last night?
The grabbing who, Paul or the kid?
Well, I'm reading the police report. On the way up the stairs, Mr. Norton told the officers he was grabbed by one of the men. There was a brief struggle. He was ejected.
Oh, that. Derek said no, they were walking him up the stairs and just walking him up, and the kid grabbed one of the security, and the security, restrained him.
So your staff is saying they didn't grab him?
No, not initially, no.
Okay.
I believe there was video of there was no video downstairs, or there's video downstairs, but they can't see anything because lighting and flashing dance lights and all that obscure it. But I believe Derek said he had some video of upstairs and leaving that he gave to the detective.
Great. Can we get a copy of the video?
Yes, I do have a small clip I can send you. Absolutely.
Thank you. Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions?
Do you have any of the downstairs video preserved, or you just preserved what you sent to the detective?
Just what he said, the downstairs video, you couldn't see anything flash, the flashing dance lights disrupted or disturbed or pretty much made everything downstairs for this particular instance useless.
And are there cameras on the stairs that lead from downstairs to upstairs?
There is a camera, it's at the top of the stairs looking down here.
Is that the angle that was submitted to the detective?
I did not see the video myself.
I believe that is the angle, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement, and please do send any relevant video to licensingboard@boston.gov, where we can take a flash drive and a hard copy at the office as well.
Will do.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Calling item number 4, Restaurante Cesaria Inc., located at 266 Bowden Street in Dorchester. Date of the incident, May 12th, 2023, assault and battery, dangerous weapon, glass bottle, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Antonio Barros.
Good morning, thank you. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Heckridge.
And Detective Terrence Burke. I'm still trying to figure out the video here.
Thank you. Just one second. I just asked you to start video, so something should pop up on your screen. There we go. Thank you. Are there any other individuals who would like to testify on this matter? Thank you. Could you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Who will be reading the police report into the record?
Sergeant Heckridge, I'll read the report.
Thank you. You may proceed.
About 1:10 a.m. on Friday, May 12th, 2023, officers Polanco and Johnson in the Harry 202, while conducting a fixed post at 266 Bowden Street, Dorchester, in front of Cesaria Restaurant, were flagged down by the victim, Miss Lewis. The victim, Lewis, stated that while talking to someone inside the above location, she was hit in the back of the head with a glass bottle 2 times. The victim stated that the suspect, Adilnilsa Samido, was a dark-skinned female wearing a black Puma sweater and black Puma sweatpants. The victim declined Boston EMS. It should be noted that officers did not observe any visible injuries on the victim. Officers also spoke to the manager, Alex Gomes, at the above location, who stated that he observed when the suspect, Samido, hit the victim in the back of the head with a glass bottle. Sergeant Heckridge, myself, observed the video surveillance of the suspect assaulting the victim with a glass bottle. Officers were able to locate the suspect in front of the above location, who stated that she did not hit the victim with a glass bottle. The suspect was placed under arrest and transported to District 11. The suspect was charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, 2-wick glass bottle, Chapter 265, 15A. And I conducted a Code 35 violation at the above at Cesaria.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barros, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. Yes, unfortunately, Alex had a death in the family. Alex, who's the general manager, had a death in the family, and today's the funeral. I could not be present. I was not present the night of the incident. Alex immediately called me about the incident and sent me the images from the video and stated that the suspect, Adilnilsa Samido, who is known to him and known to the restaurant, came into the restaurant right when we had closed, and just assumed that she was there to pick up someone and pick up her husband, who was there, and she was allowed in and proceeded to go to the back of the restaurant near the hallway to the bathroom where the victim was standing speaking to her husband. She then grabbed a glass bottle from the victim's hand and hit her in the head with it, and then proceeded to try to hit her cousin. And then they were immediately broken up, and then the victim went outside and flagged down the police who was posted in the front.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any. Oh,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you there.
no worries. Anything further, Mr. Barros?
No, nothing further.
Thank you. We'll move to see if there are any questions from the board, starting with Chairwoman Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Barros. So you're saying that the suspect and the victim were both known to you, patrons at the restaurant before?
Yes, the victim is actually Alex said it's his cousin. So she's also known to the staff.
Okay, they were cousins?
Yes.
Okay. So did the manager, Alex, I know he's not here today, when you spoke with him, did he say that this was foreseeable at all? Did anything transpire?
No, the suspect was not at the restaurant the entire night. Didn't foresee anything happening. She just entered. She wasn't intoxicated or anything. Just nothing that would have indicated something was about to happen.
Okay, thank you. I have no other, excuse me, I have no other questions.
And neither do I. Thank you.
None from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In that case, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 5, Prometheus Food Corp. Doing business as New York Pizza, located at 224 Tremont Street. Stated the incident May 12th, 2023. Failure to cooperate with police, did not provide video to detectives in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9, and Board's Rule 1.10A and B. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning. My name is Attorney Tom Finnerty Jr., and I'm here for Prometheus, also known as New York Pizza, located at 224 Tremont Street in Boston. And on the video is Bill Axiotis. He has the beard and the black shirt, and it looks like a bookcase behind him. He'll be witness later. And good morning, members of the board and Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant McDonald.
Thank you, Sergeant McDonald. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you both please raise your right hand? Mr.
Axiotis, raise your right hand, please.
Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you, Sergeant McDonald. If you could please proceed reading the police report into the record.
All right, so this was a follow-up to an investigation regarding an A&B that occurred on Friday, 5/12/2023 at 3:30 in the morning. Detective McDonald and Detective Connolly conducted a Code 35 violation at New York Pizza, 224 Tremont Street. Detective McDonald called off with the Channel 2 dispatcher and walked into New York Pizza. Detective McDonald asked for who was in charge, and the cashier stated Billy. He called Billy Axiotis on the phone, and I spoke to him, and he stated that we were conducting a Code 35 violation for failure to cooperate with police. This is in relation to a credit card fraud where the suspect stole the victim's wallet and of someone who was unconscious and charged $7 on the victim's card at his establishment. On multiple occasions on May 23rd, 2023, June 5th, 2023, Detective McDonald went in person to ask for the video, and Billy stated he would provide me the video to me. Billy stated on the last occasion that he sent it to my email and for me to check the junk mail. I asked him to show me his sent mail, which he did not have any emails going to me on that list. He further stated that the video is no longer available because it is past the time for review. He stated that there were lots of cameras around Tremont Street and that I could find video from. A Code 35 violation number 8786 was left for Billy to accept. The cashier would not sign the Code 35 violation, and there was no manager on duty at the time. Detectives were on scene. In addition to failure to cooperate with police, we will also cite for not present on premise and refusal to sign a receipt of inspection notice.
Thank you very much. Attorney Finnerty, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, may I ask Sergeant Detective McDonald questions, please?
You may.
At the beginning of your statement, Sergeant, good morning, first of all. You mentioned an incident that happened on May 12th at 3:30 in the morning. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
You didn't say, though, that the happening happened in front of 240 Tremont Street, which happens to be the Moxie Hotel.
Okay.
So
This was
initially, you gave the impression to the board here that some assault and battery and robbery happened in front of the New York Pizza, which is not correct. Isn't that so?
No, but what happened was it happened in the middle of Tremont and Stewart, and the suspect fled up Tremont Street towards New York Pizza.
Attorney Finnerty, you're on mute currently. Oh, you're still on mute. I've just asked you to unmute.
Pardon me. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. Sergeant, are you familiar with the police officer named Ramirez?
Yes.
Isn't also a report connected to this matter for the May 12, 2003 assault and battery unarmed robbery? Doesn't it say it happened in front of 240 Tremont Street?
Yeah, I see that. Yes.
Yeah.
But
And isn't
once
that
I
also across Stewart Street from where my client's business is?
correct?
And isn't it so that 224 Tremont Street, which is New York Pizza, is 5 buildings from the intersection of Tremont and Stewart Street?
I don't know how many buildings, but all I know is the suspect went towards Tremont Street and then used the victim's credit card inside that location. And all I was looking for was video footage of him providing, using a stolen credit card. And I did not receive any footage from him. I'm not debating on where the location of the incident occurred.
All right, but initially you left out the fact that it happened there, and I just want to make sure the board understands that this did not happen out in front of my client's business.
It was down the street from your client's business.
Across an intersection.
In the intersection, yes.
Okay. Is it also say in Ramirez's report that the suspect who was beating the person who got robbed got in a motor vehicle that headed down 93 towards Albany Street?
I don't know. I didn't write that report.
But you must have read it in preparation for today.
Yes, correct.
And doesn't it say the suspect got in a motor vehicle and headed towards 93 South?
It does say that, but there was multiple suspects.
Okay. Multiple suspects. Doesn't it say in the report of Ramirez that the video shows one man, a large white man with shoulder-length hair, beating somebody?
A large white man?
Yes, it says a large-built white man with shoulder-length hair was striking the person on the ground in front of 240 Tremont Street.
But that was inaccurate.
Oh, it was inaccurate. Wasn't that
Correct.
something that was seen on a video?
Correct.
So the
But
video was
upon further
inaccurate about how many
investigation,
men there were there?
No, there was.
And did the video show that
Attorney
individual
Thomas.
get in a vehicle to
Attorney
go
Thomas?
towards South?
Right. Listen.
Attorney Thomas,
Yes.
do you know that the assailant is the one that used the credit card at the New York Pizza?
I have no idea who uses credit card.
Okay, so what is the relevance of this?
The relevance is the way the sergeant first presented it to the board.
No,
He
the way
left
the
out the
sergeant
fact that
first
this assault
presented
and
it to the
battery
board was
happened.
that he was concerned about the credit card use.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
for
how
some
his
victim.
report. That's how his report reads.
I understand that. I understand that.
Okay,
Now-
so his report does not have anything to do with the assault.
Okay. His report has to do with somebody spending $7 two
Yep.
slices of pizza. I understand that.
Okay,
Now-
so let's focus on that.
In the past, has New York Pizza been uncooperative with the police?
Attorney Thomas, what's the relevance of that?
The relevance is he's being charged now with not cooperativeness.
Specific to this night.
All right. Isn't it so that the incident happened on May 12th and you didn't show up there until May 23rd, 10 days or more later?
And the relevance?
The relevance is
Yeah.
the preservation of any tapes after such a time period going by.
Yeah, he has 30 days, he told me.
Okay. Now, you first asked him, did you not, about outside video, and he told you he had no outside video. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, and then I went inside the location. There's one looking right at the cash register.
Okay. And he showed you the cash register, the receipts, didn't he?
He showed me no, he didn't. He was supposed to provide that as well.
He told, well, he's all right. So you're saying that you never got to see the screen of all the sales, of which there were 75 sales that day, all in the
correct.
amount of $7.
That along with the video, he did not provide me.
All right. All right. Did refuse to give you the video?
No, but he claimed that he kept sending it and kept sending it. I went there multiple times to try and retrieve this. And you know what? When I go back there 2-3 times to try and get something, that's too many. All right. This affects everyone else involved in this. Like, this guy literally rolled over a person who was unconscious in the middle of a crosswalk, stole his phone and stole his wallet, proceeds to your client's place of business, and then makes a transaction. You know what? That's a pretty big deal to me. So for him not to be able to provide that to me on the first try, all right, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. The second try, now it's a problem. Third try, like, now he's not cooperating.
Do you have anything else, Attorney Finnerty?
No, but I do have my client to testify to what his version of what it was and what happened.
Good morning. May I add?
Yes.
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Billy Axiotis here, the manager at New York Pizza. The first time the detective came in, he knew the amount, but we did not know the exact date, nor the last 4 digits of the card number. The $7 is a very, very common charge in our system. I showed him the whole screen of $7 and how many orders we have of the same exact amount. So I had asked him for the amount, the credit card number, the last 4 digits, and the date. The second time he came back, he gave me the 4 digits and the date. When I had tried to send it from the POS system, it said sent. It does not come from my email. It goes straight from the store's POS, which is a point of sale system we use for the register. On my end, it said sent. He said he did not receive it. I looked at my phone because it is connected. It did not show. I had called Food Tech, which is our POS company, and they had told us 14 days is the longest it holds in the cloud. And the register and the sales I can see up to 30 days, 60 days, but the cameras is 14 days.
Anything else, or maybe?
No, members of the board, Madam Chairman, my client tried his best to cooperate with the police officer. The police officer himself even admitted he didn't show up there until the 23rd of May, which is 10 days after the alleged incident. The only reason why I brought up that other stuff earlier, board member Mr. Curran, is because I felt in his opening statement, the sergeant left out the fact of where this incident happened, and I didn't want to leave you with the impression that this robbery happened outside my client's business. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah, we know that. We know it's not about a robbery. We know it's not about a robbery.
It's all about $7 that was used on a debit card.
I take issue with that. Today, we're about lack of cooperation with Boston Police, failure to provide video, refusal to sign an inspection notice. But go ahead.
First of all, my client, on the day for the came by for the inspection notice, my client's, one of his pizza delivery fellows, car broke down, and he had to go out and jumpstart the car, which is why he was not there at the time. My understanding is, and my client will testify to this, that when the police officer, Sergeant McDonald, showed up on the 21st of June, more than a month afterwards, to serve a citation, was when my client was not there because he was jump-starting a pizza delivery guy's car. That he made the statement to the people who was in charge, and they said Billy. And he says, well, somebody in charge has got to sign this. because nobody was there in charge to sign it. They refused to sign it because they were frightened. My client was there the other times, the other 3 times that the police officer mentioned. Just the time he went to deliver the citation, he wasn't there. My client testified that he sent this video. Oftentimes we send things in email thinking it's there, but we don't know unless the other side complains that it's not there. So if somebody complains sometime later, and you heard my client testify that the registers are there for 30 days, but the film only lasts 14 days, that there's a certain time period the film doesn't last. And while I've been sitting here waiting, I've heard many people say their film wasn't preserved. And some of them are much more serious matters of shootings and beatings.
Can we focus on what your client is here for?
Yes, I am.
Please?
I am.
You're
I'm-
actually not.
I'm
You're
submitting
comparing
it-
him to other people.
Yes.
And I'd like to focus on why your client is here before us today.
Okay, my client is here today, and he told you that he tried to cooperate with the sergeant. The sergeant didn't receive the video. This is all a mistake in the video being sent or not resent or not received.
Okay.
My client is not a computer tech, and that's just about it. That's the defense here that we have today.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump in as chair of the board, and I appreciate you explaining your position and defending your client in that way. Some of the other people before the board today were not asked by Boston Police to preserve their video. They were asked by me and my other commissioners to preserve their video, asked if they had video today. Your client was asked by Boston Police to preserve video. Your client said that he sent it. He pulled it up on his phone. Does your client have a screenshot of his POV or whatever it is, the point of sale POS screen that says he sent the video?
Do
I
you,
do
Mr.
not.
Axiotis?
No.
Can you look it
Explain
up?
why you don't.
When you log into the computer on the register, it exports directly to the email. There's no
Sounds
email.
pretty techie to me. Go ahead. I guess I
Well,
don't understand
You
it.
open the cameras and you just export that day's clip, the whole day's video.
Okay.
There was no specific time given. I did not know the time. I did not know, morning or night. So I exported the entire day of the date the detective gave me, and there's no evidence on my end to see if it was sent.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And so you manage this location and you manage another location?
No, I just manage this location.
Okay, just this location. What have you done to train your staff since Sergeant McDonald showed up and they refused to sign? They were scared, your attorney said. What have you done to train your staff since
Well-
they're not cooperating with Boston Police when they show up?
I had told them if, they called me right away, obviously, and I was not there, but I had told them just to sign it going forward, whatever they
You
asked.
did.
me.
So this
did.
won't happen again at any of the other locations that you have anything to do with. When Boston Police show up and ask for a signature, you or someone else in your staff know enough to sign and to cooperate?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. This is not about any other licensed premise that was before us today. This is about you, Mr. Axiotis, in this location, and this is about cooperation and failure to cooperate with Boston Police. It has nothing to do with what happened at the Moxie Hotel. It has to do with when Sergeant McDonald showed up and you did not cooperate. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Curran and Commissioner Saxon to see if there are any final questions.
May I say one more thing, Madam Chairman?
I want to ask Commissioner Curran, we've given you a lot of time today, attorney. I'll let you say one more thing at the end.
Commissioner Curran, any questions?
Yes, I'm gonna need to see something from your POS company that says that you made this request.
Sure.
So if you can provide something from them that created a digital record that you made this request to send this video, I can accept that, but like the chair said, you were approached 10 days after and you said your video lasts for 14, so that is ample time to preserve. And like you said, you used all the video from that whole night because it was hard to focus in.
When the detective first came.
Yep,
first
10 days
time,
after, right?
Days, he did not know the date or the car number. So even when I went to go
You
back,
didn't know the date of the transaction at all?
he said it was between this date and this date.
Okay, all right, so I was a little confused about that. So when did he return with the date?
The second time he came.
Yeah, and do you know when that was? How many days was that after?
If it's 10 plus another 7, so 17 days.
Okay, so as of the second time he came, was the video already overwritten?
It must have been. If it didn't go through, then that's why it wasn't opening. Because on my end, it wasn't opening. I was sending it as a full clip.
It wasn't opening.
It
No,
did not.
but
Was that an indication that it wasn't available anymore?
Most likely, yeah. That's probably what happened because
Okay, on the
I
first
don't-
visit, what was the date range he gave you?
it was 2 or 3 days, and I showed him the POS at that's $7 charge is very common.
Yep,
Listen,
I understand, and I accept that.
I think
The
the
2
12
or 3 date
15
range, could you have gone to your POS system and asked them, you know, I have this request, can we make sure these days don't overwrite?
Yeah, I guess I could have, yeah. I just
Okay,
didn't
so
know
do
which
you have an
POS
ability to extend that overwriting time on a case-by-case basis?
No, this never happened before. I've never asked our POS
Alright, I
to.
think you should look into that, cause that 14-day overwriting time is on the short side, I have to say.
Well, I'm not sure. That's just the time I know that the camera saved.
Yeah. Well, I'd appreciate if you could go back to your POS and work out some of these issues, whether, you know, you can give a 2 or 3 day range to preserve so it doesn't go away. So you can give yourself more time to continue to work with the police, because I'm going to say something and not a question, more in the way of a statement, but I think it needs to be said that cooperation is not just mere compliance. Okay. When the police come into you, you got to work with them, you know, and I know that on one level, you can look at this as a minor incident of $7 of credit card fraud, but and I'm not blaming you for what happened before, which led to that fraud, but then the police are not concerned about that fraud. They're investigating something else. It's a serious matter. And I think my sense is that they explained to you what was going on. It wasn't just a credit card fraud situation. You know, I expect you to proceed with that amount of seriousness in cooperating, working with the police to, you know, get to the same goal
I understand.
here. Okay. You know, they only asked me, they didn't have these days, you know, when the first time he comes in, I want to see from a business owner like yourself is like, you realize the weight of the situation and you do the things that you can do to help them out. Okay.
I understand, yeah.
Thanks.
I just need to make sure that the date that the sergeant gave to you was within the date range that he gave to you the first time.
The first time he came, he told me between the 12th and the 15th, I believe. And at that time, I believe it was 10 days. And I had told him we need more details in order to find the exact transaction. So when he came back the second time, it was already past the 14 days.
So that second time you verified that it was on the 12th.
The second time he came back, he gave me the date and the last 4 digits of the card number. Correct.
So when you got the date range, I just need to confirm, you went to your POS.
Mhm.
And you sent all 4, the 12th, the 13th.
No, I did not send those.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Saxon, that was something I kind of suggested.
Oh, what did you, I just need to, what did you do on that first time?
I did not do anything because I did not have a credit card number, nor did I have a date to send.
Okay.
I showed him the POS that had all the $7 charges.
Okay.
And it is 75 to 100 charges of the same amount a day. It's 2 slices of pizza. You know, it's very common.
All right. Yeah, just to reiterate, when you get a request like that, do everything that you can to make sure it happens and that you can give all the information that you have.
Are there any further questions from the board? Attorney Finerty, I know that the chair has granted you the ability to make a brief statement, so if you would like to do that now, you may do so.
May I say that my client did try to cooperate. You heard him testify that the police officer, Sergeant McDonald, gave him a range of when this happened, between the 12th and the 15th of May. So he's required to look over these 3 days to see that without even a 4-digit credit card ending number, to find something, a common transaction. Now, he wants to cooperate. He wanted to cooperate. But when the police officer says, well, I don't know what day it happened, it might have happened between the 12th of May and the 15th of May, and I don't know his credit card numbers. My client is not a detective. He's given what he could get to help the police. to give him such a vague statement, it could have happened between these 3 days with no other evidence and no clues. He did the best he could. And I suggest, and maybe Board Member Curran was, maybe the system crashed when he's trying to send 4 days or 3 days worth of film. Sometimes computers can't carry that much. Now, I don't know what happened here. I'm not a computer person. To tell you the truth, I don't even know what a POS is. But my client talked about it. He did his best. And like he said, it's a common charge. So it's like finding a needle in a haystack to cooperate. Find the guy who fraudulently spent the $7, when that's the most common charge in his system, to scan through without even having a credit card number to look at. An impossible task.
Thank you, Attorney Finnerty. There was a specific request made for any digital record that the recording was sent for May 12th. So if there is any digital record from the POS system that you can provide to the board, you can do that either by emailing to licensingboard@boston.gov, or if the file is too large, you can also bring it to room 809 in City Hall on a flash drive. And with that, the board will take this matter under advisement, and we will await the submission of any digital file that is responsive to the board's request. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the board. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Calling item number 6, Macumba Latina Inc., doing business as Macumba Latina, located at 477 River Street in Mattapan. Date of the incident, September 4th, 2023. Assault and battery with a dangerous weapon ×2, patron on patron, inside premise in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Do we have a representative with us from Macumba Latina?
The video. We're taking the mute out right now. Good morning. With me today.
Oh, sorry, we're getting a little bit of feedback.
With me today is, again, my name. We're still getting feedback. We'll attempt to correct that from our end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Again, Attorney Green, I apologize. We were trying to get this on the laptop and on the computer, and for some reason we were having a very difficult time getting that to get it done. My name again is Bill Reary. That's R-E-H-R-E-Y. I'm here today representing Macumba Latina. With me today are two of the owners, the only two owners of Macumba Latina. That's Max Fernandez and John Lopes. Mr. Fernandez is to my left. Mr. Lopes is to my right.
Thank you. We can see them both, and we can hear.
And also, Attorney Green, with me today are two employees, two security for Macumba Latina. One is Mr. Roberson. Mr. Roberson can step forward, get onto the screen. Mr. Roberson is there. Raise your hand just to let them know that's you, Mr. Roberson. And also is Mr. Bonner. Mr. Bonner, if you could just step forward. Both of them are part of the security details that Macumba Latina has, and also were there on the night in question, September 4th.
Thank you very much. We can see all of them, and we can hear you fine now. Appreciate that. We'll have them sworn in just a moment. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I'm here, Lieutenant Detective John Fitzgerald, District B3.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Detective Hernandez, if you need me to read the supplemental.
Thank you. Yes, we would appreciate that. And thank you. And are there any other individuals who wish to testify this morning who have not yet identified themselves? Thank you. Could all those who plan to testify please raise your right hand? Thank you. And Attorney Rary, I think I'm just missing Mr. Lopes on screen.
See me?
Yep. Thank you. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Lieutenant Detective Fitzgerald, if you could please proceed with reading the police report into the record.
Sure. For the record, I'm Lieutenant Detective John Fitzgerald. I'm the Detective Commander of District B3, which covers Mattapan. I'm going to be reading from incident report number 232-071-178. This was authored by Officer Chardiza Coleman on 9/4/2023. At about 12:46 a.m. on Monday, 9/4/23, Officer Coleman, assigned to the Charlie 431 Alpha Unit, onset a fight at 477 River Street, the Macumba's nightclub, that resulted in the firearm arrest of a Reagan Feliz. Due to numerous complaints of illegally parked cars blocking driveways in the area of the Macumba's nightclub, Officer Coleman was attempting to alert the Macumba's security to announce the cars being towed. Officer Coleman's cruiser was in the area of 474 River Street when she observed patrons from Macumba's running out yelling. Officer Coleman requested an additional unit for what was known at this time as a fight. Off-duty Boston Police Officer Zukowski, who was in the area, approached Officer Coleman and alerted her that he believed someone in the crowd had a firearm. Just minutes before, Officer Zukowski heard 1 to 2 loud pops coming from inside the Macumba's nightclub. While inside Macumba's, Officer Zukowski observed a male wearing a dark-colored shirt with a design on it, holding what he believed to be a black firearm. Officer Zukowski observed the individual, later identified as Reagan Feliz, be on the sidewalk across the street from Daily Food Table. Officer Coleman immediately exited her cruiser and approached the individual identified by the off-duty officer, who he believed to be carrying the firearm. Once Officer Coleman and Officer Zukowski approached, about 3 to 4 individuals began to run away from officers. The identified individual by Officer Zukowski began to sprint away from officers when he observed officers approaching him. While in pursuit, Officer Coleman observed a tan and black firearm without a magazine in the well fall from one of the individuals running. Officer Coleman took custody of the firearm and requested more units. It should be noted, while detectives were processing the scene inside of the Macumba's nightclub, an extended magazine was located very close to where a shell casing was recovered. The extended magazine, which was capable of holding 31 rounds, contains 26 rounds of ammunition, and all the rounds were consistent with the caliber and brand of the recovered shell casing. Officer Coleman observed off-duty Officer Zukowski attempting to gain control of Feliz. Officer Zukowski was able to get Feliz to the ground and alerted Officer Coleman that Feliz was the initial individual who he believed was in possession of a firearm. After a brief struggle, Feliz was placed in handcuffs and a firearm was recovered from his waistband. Officer Zukowski demanded Feliz's license to carry, to which he stated no. The crowd became much larger and irate as everyone was running out of Macumba's into the middle of River Street with an active flow of traffic. Simultaneously, while pursuing the suspects, Officer Coleman was notified by a patron from Macumba's that there was an individual shot inside. Unable to confirm the shooting, but knowing the potential for multiple firearms on scene and the multiple individuals running away from the establishment, Officer Coleman broadcasted that there was a person shot inside of Macumba's and requested all available units to respond. Detective Rooney, Detective Sandin, and myself arrived and processed the scene. While en route to the scene, the Tango Echo 513, a canine officer, observed a black sedan flagging down an ambulance that was also en route to Macumba's at Walk Hill Street and Blue Hill Avenue. Officer Mahar stated she observed victim number 1, Alejandro Gabriel Garcia Lacerda, have a gunshot wound to the buttocks and to the scrotum. Garcia Lacerda confirmed he was shot at Macumba's. Garcia Lacerda was transported to BMC with non-life-threatening injuries. While on scene, the Channel 3 dispatcher alerted officers that a second victim, later identified as Willis Joel Romero Baez, self-applied to Milton Hospital with a gunshot wound to the left thigh, and he was later transported to the Beth Israel Hospital. Romero Baez confirmed that he was shot at Macumba's. Feliz was transported back to District B3 and he was booked in the usual manner. Due to a language barrier, Feliz was Mirandized in Spanish by Sergeant Sereno Ayuso. During the booking process, a medium-sized plastic bag of a white substance consistent with cocaine was retrieved from Feliz's left pants pocket by Police Officer Smith. Officers confirmed through CJIS that Feliz does not have an active license to carry. Crime lab technicians responded to District B3 and conducted a gunshot residue of the suspect. The first firearm recovered was a tan and black Polymer 80 with no magazine. The extended magazine recovered inside of Macumba's contained 26 9mm rounds. The second firearm recovered from Feliz's waistband was a black Polymer 80 and was observed to be jammed in stovepipe fashion with a magazine containing 9 9mm rounds. One 9mm shell casing was recovered from inside of the Macumba's nightclub. Feliz was charged with carrying a firearm without a license, possession of ammunition without an FID card, carrying a loaded firearm on a public way, and possession of a Class A substance. Multiple units responded. That would be the conclusion of the incident report.
Thank you very much. Detective Hernandez, would you like to read the supplemental into the record for us as well?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. On Wednesday, September 6, 2023, Lieutenant Detective Adrian Troy, Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the BPD license permission responded to Macumba Latina. Detectives were there to speak to staff regarding an assault and battery with dangerous incident that had occurred on September 4th, 2023. Detectives spoke to the person in charge, Mr. John Lopes, who confirmed that he was aware of the incident. Mr. Lopes stated that B3 detectives had already contacted them and the establishment had provided surveillance video to the investigators. Mr. Lopes was advised to provide the licensing board with a security plan, and the security plan that was being used by the establishment as a result of the incident. Lieutenant Detective Joy issued license premise inspection notice 059259 for assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, firearm, ×2, patron on patron, inside of premise. Mr. Lopes signed for an accepted notice. That is all.
Thank you very much. Attorney Reary, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, Attorney Green. I first would like to ask of the, do either of you have any firsthand knowledge of what occurred that night?
I wasn't on scene that night.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Did you ask if any of us had any firsthand knowledge?
That's correct, officer.
Yes, I responded to the scene. I was there within approximately 1 minute of it occurring.
At any time, did the owners, Mr. Lopes or Mr. Fernandez, did they not cooperate with you that particular night?
No, they cooperated.
Yeah. And in connection with both reports, is there any indication that the owners of Macumba Latina and their staff failed to cooperate with the police?
Not on my behalf, no.
Not with me, sir. No.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Attorney. Thank you, both officers, for your cooperation. Attorney Green, that concludes my questioning of the officers and commissioners. That concludes it.
Thank you. I believe, I assume you have questions for your witnesses?
Yes, I do. We had submitted to the board exhibits. There are 5 exhibits that we included. One is a diagram of the security that particular night. That's exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 are photos of the back door to Macumba Latina. The third exhibit contains 2 photos of the interior, and as it looks on a night that resembling that night, excuse me, of September 4th. The fourth is some photos of the alley. Now, the 5th one is the videos. Excuse me. Something stuck in my throat. I apologize. The fifth is videos that were taken on that night, which have been provided to Boston Police. But we also are providing them to the board. Unfortunately, the size of the folder didn't allow us to email the photos. We will either deliver it to the board this afternoon by flash drive, or there is another electronic way that we are also attempting to do. We'll get you those the folders with the videos from that night. What I wanted to first question Mr. Fernandez. Mr. Fernandez, could you please state your name and address?
Yes, good afternoon, member of the board. My name is Max Fernandez. I'm a part owner of Macumba Latina, been in this location about 19 years.
Okay, and is there another owner of Macumba Latina?
Yes, my longtime partner, Mr. John Lopes.
Okay. And how long have you owned Macumba Latina?
Like I said, this location will be there for 19 years.
Were you there on the night in question, September 4th?
Yes, sir, and every night.
Mr. Fernandez, I'm going to show you what we marked as exhibit number 1. I would hope that possibly the commissioners had an opportunity to review this particular exhibit. What is this showing? What is exhibit number 1, Mr. Fernandez?
It's showing the placement of my staff. That particular night, I had about 10 staff member. I would have 2 outside, 1 for parking, 1 would check ID and take the tickets. 1 in front of the door, a male with search, and 1 female search.
Who was the male search employee who was searching that particular night?
The male search would be Mr. Tobin Robinson. Mr. Tobin Robinson. He with me.
How long is he here today?
Yes, here today.
Okay. And how long has Mr. Robinson been an employee of Macumba Latina?
If I'm not mistaken, it's about 15 years. About that time, 15 years.
Now, you also indicated that there is a staff member located by the back door. Was he part of the security team?
Yes.
And there also shows that there was an employee located over by the bathroom.
Yes, he's a backup. He's a backup back door. As a backup.
Now, are those 2 employees, are they still employed by Macumba Latina?
No.
Can you explain to the board why they are no longer employees of Macumba Latina?
The reason, my point of view, is the guy, especially the back door, the first one to go with the back door, he left his position. He said he went to the bathroom, but he has a radio, he has a flashlight, he has a backup guy, just in case. But he said he left the door to go to the bathroom. And that's one of the first things I say, that door cannot left be alone. Even though the back door cannot be opened from outside. It cannot be opened from outside. So he left, he said he left, he went to the bathroom. When after my investigation and find out that somebody went through the back door, he said that he went to the bathroom.
And what about the other employee located by the bathroom? Are they still employed by Macumba Latina?
No, again.
Were they part of the security team?
He was.
Can you explain to the board why that employee was let go?
Well, because he's a backup. He's a backup from anything happened from the back door, he has a backup. He didn't help the guy going to the bathroom. He told me a story that he didn't see nobody going to the bathroom, he didn't know nobody left the back door. And that cannot be true. You cannot miss anybody going to the bathroom by you, and you cannot miss if the other security guard, your team member, leave the back door.
Now, that diagram shows on the right side an alleyway. Is that correct? It's actually identified as a driveway.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's a driveway.
Okay. And if you were facing Macumba Latina, that would be on the right-hand side of the building, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How many doors are located along the right-hand side of Macumba Latina?
On the right side, by the driveway, the first door would be the kitchen door. The second door would be a door that would take you upstairs to the studio. And the last door would be at the back door. the exit door. It's a back door, exit door. No other kickoff.
Okay, now in connection with the door the middle door that is marked upstairs door, does that allow any access whatsoever to Macumba, the first floor, Macumba Latino?
No, it's totally different upstairs.
The kitchen door, that's the first door as you walk down the driveway. Does that does that go into the kitchen area?
Yes.
For Macumba Latino?
Yes.
And the back door, at the end of the driveway, does that, as it's showing here, does that enter into the dance floor in the stage area at the back of Macumba Latino?
Yes.
Now, we've also included, as exhibit number 2, some photos, 2 photos of the back door to Macumba Latina. Mr. Fernandez, I'd ask you to take a look at the first photo that's included there, which shows an exit sign over the top of it. It appears to be on the interior. Can you describe what we're looking at?
Yes, it's basically a large exit door, 2 door. It has to be open from inside. It cannot be open from outside. So basically, it's an exit door. Just in case of emergency, you have to push that thing there.
The horizontal bars?
Yeah, the bars. You have to push the bar for the door to open.
And that's where you would always have a security detail located. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm going to show you the second photo, which is basically of that back door area again, but it's showing it. Is that an accurate depiction of how the back door area would look without any patrons, but how the back door area would look on that night in question?
Yes.
So we've also included as exhibit number 3 for the board, some photos of the interior of Macumba Latina. Mr. Fernandez, I'm showing you the first photo. There's 2 of them. The first one, can you tell the board what exactly they would be looking at when they view this particular photo?
This is like a view. You're walking in from the front door. So the front door would be you're facing the back of the club. You're coming from the front door.
Now that signage that's way in the back, that's on a screen.
That's
correct?
a screen. That's a big screen.
And that's where the stage is located.
Yes.
Okay, so the back door to Macumba Latinas, if you're looking at this photo, would be to the right.
Yes.
Okay. Now the second photo is of the interior also. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, this shows how it's usually lighted at night.
Yes.
Okay. And could you tell the board where this photo was taken from?
This is from the stage, basically from the back of the club. Your left will be the bar, the back door, and on your right will be the bathroom. And then if you go all the way down, will be the front door.
Okay. And to the left on that photo, there is someone seated. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the bar area.
Okay, and that is, as you just indicated, that's the bar area for Macumba Latina. Mr. Fernandez, on the night in question, at approximately 11:15 that night, where were you located?
11:16, I was walking to the kitchen because I had a guy, my ice machine wasn't working, so I had a guy bringing the ice inside. So I was helping him out. And as soon as I walked to that door, it told me that somebody walked to the back door. It's like, that's not possible. It's like, yes, somebody walked to the back door. So I went to investigate it. I called the back door on the radio. I told him it's me, open the door. He opened the door and I asked him, did somebody come to the back door? He said, no. I asked him again, did somebody come to the back door? He said, no. So I went back to my ice guy. You sure somebody came to the back door? He said, yes. So I was like, okay, can you point out to me? So I went back to the back door and he put me one guy. There was like a crew of maybe 10 people. And she put me one guy. So I went to the guy and I asked him, did you come to the back door? He said, no. So I went back outside again and I asked her, you sure he came out the back door? He said, yes. So I went back inside and got the guy that he described that came from the back door, took him
What did you
outside.
do with him?
I took him outside and I asked him. And I think I've seen him before. It's not a regular. He was not a regular. So I asked him, listen, what happened? Why he came through the back door? You know this place. Why you came through the back door?
And what did he tell you?
He told me that, oh, well, my friend, they have an ID. He's not from here. That's why we came to the back door. But you can search me. I have nothing on me, but okay, I did search him because it was a pretty busy night and there's nothing like this happened before. I let him back in. I searched him, let him back in, and I went back to the bar.
Okay, so you were back at the bar shortly thereafter, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we've also included some photos of what we call Macumba improvements, Exhibit 4. What do those 3 photos show? Are they showing the driveway alleyway on the right-hand side of Macumba Latina?
Yeah, that's what it showed. It showed the back, all the way to the back. That's like the back door too.
Now I'm showing you the first photo, which is is that the back door
That is
to
the
the
back door.
stage area?
That is the back.
Okay. And it appears that now there's a light over the top of that back door. Is that
Yes.
right? Was that there that night?
Yeah, yes, but it wasn't working.
Is it working now?
Yes, we replaced all the 3 lights.
Okay. And still looking at that particular photo, I see that there is no handle on the door, but on the night in question, was there a handle on that door?
There was a handle that you can only open with a key. It has to be opened with a key from outside.
So since the incident, you removed the handle.
Yes,
And you
I
removed
remove it that nobody can open. There's no way you can pull it or anything like that. I made it so it has to be open from inside.
Now, there are 2 other photos in exhibit number 4. One being the second photo appears to be another door. Which door is that?
That is the middle door. That's the door that will take you upstairs towards like a studio.
Okay. And what's located above that door?
Another light.
Okay. Was that light there the night in question?
No.
Okay. That's been recently installed.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And now I'm going to show you the third photo that's part of exhibit number 4. Can you tell the board, the commissioners, what they are seeing in that particular photo?
That is another light that we add up. That make sure that when anybody walk through the alley, it's a bright light. Maybe it will scare you a little bit.
Still looking at that particular photo, Mr. Fernandez, is there anything else in that photo in addition to the light?
Yes, it's
What's
camera.
that?
There was a camera there too.
Okay, was that camera there the night?
Yes.
Now, you supplied the Boston Police with the videos from that night, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Sure did.
Okay. Did you view the videos from that night?
Yes.
Okay. On the night in question, what did that video show you?
That about
Excuse me, strike that from that particular camera. What did the video show you at approximately 11:15, 11:16 that night?
that 2 individual that was parked on the front of the Macumba, front of the location, they was walking through the alley. They were trying to walk through the alley. They were trying to get to the kitchen door, and my ice guy stopped them. So they went to the back door.
The
That's
very
when-
back door.
the very back door.
Okay, and what happened back there?
They got in the back door. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. It has to be from inside. Somebody opened the door. I don't know who did it, but that is going to be a change.
And on that, Mr. Fernandez, I would ask you to tell the board what exactly you're going to do in addition to removing the handle and the lock on the outside of that back door. What other changes are you going to make in connection with the back door?
Change is make sure that nobody can get to the back door. That is very important. We take it seriously. I add the light. First of all, I'm going to put a camera on top of the back door. I'm going to put a light, a sensor light on top of the back door. There will be another one on top of the bar. So anything that happens with that door, if it get open, I will know. We'll be noticed from at the bar. And the camera will be on top of that door too. I put a camera, I put a light, and I remove any handle. I remove anything that can help you open the back door.
Mr. Fernandez, one of those improvements to the interior area of the back door, when are those improvements going to take place?
Well, it's coming. We got a contract right here.
Tomorrow.
He said we're coming tomorrow to add up the light, perform the light with a sensor. We also increase more secure. I mean, security is very important. It's very important here. It's something we don't play around. Macumba is known for that. But even though I have one of the best guys searching, I order a metal detector to put in the front door. This maybe make people feel safer. What else?
When is that metal detector supposed to be
It's supposed
delivered
to be
to the
delivered
Macumba?
today, by fact. But just in case we can, when it add up, I can send a picture when it's put up and working.
Mr. Roberson, I believe you testified, Mr. Fernandez, that Mr. Roberson has been with you approximately 11 years?
Not more than about 15 years.
15 years, excuse me. What is Mr. Roberson's job? What's he do at Macumba Latina?
Mr. Robinson, his job is mail security. He do search. He's a search guy. He's very trailed. I really like the way he search. He's been around for a long time. He knows the job. And during the period of time that he's been here, he removed a lot of knives. He removed a lot of things out the door.
And did he remove some knives that night?
Yes, he did.
And Mr. Roberson could testify to this. I would suggest to the board, Mr. Roberson would be able to testify that on the night in question, he removed the knife from one of the victims that particular night. Is that correct, Mr.?
Correct.
Mr. Fernandez, you've indicated that the Macumba Latinas is going to make security improvements to the back door area, that they've made improvements in the alleyway with the addition of added lighting in that area. Are there any other improvements that Macumba is going to be undertaken or has undertaken in connection with the security at Macumba Latina?
Yes. I would think that just to make extra on maybe on the holiday, maybe I'm expecting a good crowd like on holiday. I would on that driveway, I would hire maybe like a private security, armed security with a cruiser to block that driveway. I will also put two person in the back door just in case one have to go to the bathroom. I will have two more. I would have two guys at the back door. The rest is like I said, the camera. I'll put a camera on top of the back door, and I'm going to put that sensor light just in case somebody open the back door.
Now on the night,
And I'll add up something with the security. Like we got a new policy here now. All the waitresses, they must check the bags before they come in.
Oh, everybody get checked.
I'm sorry, we can't see who's speaking and we don't know who's talking.
That's Mr. John.
the other co-owner.
Okay.
But before I finish with Mr. Fernandez, Mr. Fernandez, has an incident such as what occurred that night? Has anything like that ever occurred at Macumba Latina before?
Never. This is probably the worst thing that a club owner can go through. It's not being easy for us. We lost probably 3/4 of business. It's still it hurts a lot because we have a very good crowd here. We have family member working with us. I mean, when you work together for 19 years or more than that, it's no more just workers. It's family. I do have some great customers that come here. They come Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. They're here every day. This is very accident that happened. They planned it. It was planned, and I don't make sure that something like this cannot happen again. It cannot happen again.
Concluding Mr. Fernandez's testimony, Mr. Fernandez, at around 11:45 that night.
Yes.
Where were you located?
I was located inside the bar.
Okay. And what happened about that time?
One of the regulars, Mr. Alejandro, walk in. As soon as he walk in, you say hi. You always say hi because I'm always by the bar. You say hi, you say hi. As soon as he walk into the back, that's what the shot. We heard one shot.
You heard one shot.
Yes.
And what did you do when you heard the one shot?
Well, I look, I didn't believe. It was disbelief. And then when I see people start running, I was like, this is not possible. That's why I see Alejandro coming back to the front door, and he said he got hit. And Mr. John Lobson was helping him out, was assisting him. That's why he take Max, call an ambulance, and when I pick up the phone, everybody else was my two bartenders was calling the ambulance and call the police.
That concludes my test, the questions that I'm going to be asking Mr. Fernandez. I will like to ask a few questions of Mr. Lopes, the other co-owner of Macumba Latina.
You may do so.
Thank you. Could you state your name and address?
My name is João Lopes. Is a co-owner of Macumba Latina since 1904.
And Mr. Lopes, is it fair to say that you're not an absentee owner?
No.
That you're here, or both of you are here all the time, correct?
All the time.
Now, on the night in question, you were here, correct?
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to focus in on what happened around 11:45 that night. Where were you located then?
I was located on the front door.
And did you hear anything around that time?
Yeah, yes, I heard one shot.
You heard what you thought was a gunshot, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And what happened after the gunshot?
And the Alejandro come to me and grabbed my hand and said, somebody shot me. Then I saw him bleeding.
Yes.
Then I called the ambulance. I told the bartender to call the ambulance.
And did they call the ambulance?
Yeah, they did right away.
Did you then locate yourself by the front door, helping people to exit the
Yes.
Macumba Latino?
Yes.
I have no further questions of Mr. Lopes or Mr. Fernandez. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Berry. Do you have anything further before we move to the board for questions?
I would only suggest to the board that when they see the video, I think there's only one conclusion that can be reached, is that they avoided the security in the front and had planned to go through that back door. And the video does show the two men going through the back door. And that's how they avoided the security, which would have been that Mr. Roberson would have in fact patted them down, and he would have found the weapon. Again, they only find knives. It's a very unusual. People with weapons don't try to come through the front door, and they don't usually go through the side doors. But that's where Mr. Lopes and Mr. Fernandez have to believe that this was somehow planned, and that Alejandro, the gentleman Garcias, was actually a target of the shooting. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Berry. Chairwoman Joyce, we'll begin with you if you have any questions.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions. So are you saying that the employees that were working at the back door, when one went to the bathroom and the other one covered for him, was he a new employee?
They've been there about 1 year. They're not very, they've been there for about 1 year.
And how long on average are your security?
Oh, everybody else is 10 and over, 10 years and over.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you now to put in writing a written security plan. I wanna see where the cameras are going to be. I want proof of the described improvements and a full staffing plan. I wanna know how many security you have, how many are at each door. And if you plan on having armed security, you need to notify us in writing. And the reason why I'm raising this with you is I'm looking at your docket sheet right now, and we have twice asked you for a written security plan, and twice you have not sent us one. So I take major issue with this. The only time you sent us a written plan was when you were shut down during COVID and you weren't allowed to reopen until we had something in writing. So we have spent a lot of time today listening to what you plan on doing, but I'd like to see that in writing, and I'd like it, I would like that to be delivered to the board as soon as possible. Commissioner Curran, do you have any questions about the incident, or is there anything else you would like to ask them?
Yes. The story you're saying seems like quite a coincidence. Was the employee or employees? I mean, my question that comes to my head is, were they complicit in this plan?
Well, I mean,
That would simply, to a certain degree, Commissioner, you understand, that would just be conjecture on our part.
Well, yeah, but you could have looked into it. Did you look into it?
well, I try, and then I did ask my questions. I did, and interview both of them. What a coincidence. It's you come in, you leave to go to the bathroom. Your backup guy don't see nothing, don't see you going to the bathroom. You both have radios. My policy every day, first thing I say, back door. Do not leave the back door. That's the first thing the first conversation that walk in when you walk in. So
you tried, but you couldn't get anything out of them. They wouldn't admit to anything.
I mean, I've been in the business for, like I said, a long enough time to know it's not a coincidence. It's not possible. Oh no, I didn't do it. No, I didn't. No, I know that. That's right away. I gotta let you go. That's right away. But
All right. So I just for the record, I have to ask anything preceding this night that made you question these employees? Like, you gotta tell me about these employees. Were they good employees? I need to know.
Before that night.
Before that night?
Yes, before that night.
Well, I mean, there was not bad employees. There's not like I said, they've been here not long enough. They've been here about 1 year.
I'm sorry, both of them were short-time employees?
Yes, there was both of them.
Okay.
Because the guy wasn't here. My main guy that has a backup, the bathroom, in front of the bathroom, his name is Antonio Cemento. He's been here for like another 16 years. But he's probably one of the longest guys that been here. His wife got cancer, so he couldn't be there that night. But if he was here that night, they would never happen. They would never happen. They had a perfect night. It was planned, and then it seemed like everything worked out for them.
All right.
And the reason, Commissioner, we keep repeating that we think it was planned is because
I seem to agree. I mean, I'll tell you right now, it seems like that with all the way it kind of went bing, bing, bing,
And also, there was no altercation. There wasn't like a fight.
They was waiting for him. They was waiting for the guy.
So, all right. So I don't want to pile on, and I don't want to play too much Monday morning quarterbacking here, but you got to remember the law of unintended consequences. You know what I mean? You go through all these efforts, and I've heard it before. You go through these efforts to disarm people at the front door, and now the people with bad intentions know everybody inside is unarmed, so it becomes a target. So you really, you know what I mean? You kind of take that responsibility of like providing this space where everyone's unarmed. You really got to protect everybody.
Of course.
I'm not saying you didn't, but I'm just, making a general statement. So thank you. That's all I have.
Could you just clarify the part of your testimony where you said you let someone in, you realized that someone came in through the back door, you approached, and then you let them in the front door. You said you did the search.
No, I put him out. My ass guy put him out, told me exactly what guy came into the back door. So I took him out. There was a group of 10 of them. So I took him out because I know him. He's not a regular, but I know him. Like I wouldn't see him for like 2 years.
Was that person the assailant is what I'm trying to get at?
I think it is, but it's not the guy that got arrested.
Why didn't you let Mr. Roberson do the search? You did the search. You said
he was on front.
Let her finish.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Commissioner.
You said Mr. Robeson is your best search guy. So Why didn't you let Mr. Robinson do the search?
Okay, so Mr. Robinson is in the front door. That's particularly night. It was a holiday before a holiday. It was pretty busy. It was start getting busy. So Mr. Robinson was in the front. I was in the back. The guy came in from the back door. So when I came to the back door, and I pulled him out to the back door. That's when I had a conversation with him, and I was like, I came in the back door because my friend, I have no ID. This is why. I was like, how you get in the back door? This or whatever. And then, I didn't want to cause no big problems because nothing happened. Would never expect this. We never had this problem. Never had something like this. So
with all of your security measures, you cannot be the security breach yourself.
Well,
so you yourself have to allow all of your security measures to operate the way they're supposed to operate.
I understand what you're saying, but as an owner, there's a lot of more respect in the security. They respect more owners than any staff, especially when you get familiar with them, when you treat them good. So the reason I approached them is because, like I say, most of them know me as the owner, but not just the owner. So when I put him out, like I told, I know him from somewhere. I know from back in the days. I know him. I asked him again, why you do that? Why you came through the back door? This front door there. Oh, Max, you can search me. I have nothing. But then I see like 10 more people inside. So I didn't, like I say, maybe I didn't do the right thing. Maybe I could have done something else. But at the time, I thought it's not broken. Don't fix it. So, I know next time anything happen like that, anything will be differently. It will be handled differently. So, like, for answer your question, the reason we get involved is because the way we relationship with customers. It's not just customers. We have people that come here every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they've been here for many years. So we got a connection. I treat them like they're home. That's why they give us back. They protect the place.
So I have a follow-up question. So you fired those two doormen that were back.
Yes, right away.
Have you rehired people to replace those members of your staff? So they're new employees now.
They're new employees, but they're not going to be in the back door.
Okay. You've trained them?
Yes.
Okay, and so we want this in writing. The board has asked you for a security and operations plan more than once. And this is another holiday weekend coming up. Do you feel as if you're properly staffed?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We'll get.
Do you have any other questions, Commissioner? Colonel Saxon?
Attorney, did you have some? Sorry.
I'm going to say, Madam Chair, we'll get that security plan to you as soon as possible. And it'll be in writing and it'll show the layout. It will be comparable to the layout that we included as Exhibit 1, but there will be some improvements to that in terms of camera location and so forth.
Okay, this is very important. We are voting tomorrow at 1:30, so I strongly urge you to get this to us in writing and enough time for us to review it before our vote tomorrow at 1:30.
Thank you.
Yes. I do have one quick question. Have you considered getting an alarm on that rear door with the panic bar on it?
Yes, that's what we're doing. It's going to be a light with like it's an alarm. As soon as will be one on the back door and one by the bar, lighting light. We have
at night, if it opens, there'll be a strobe or something. You'll see. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
And this to you probably tomorrow.
Today.
The contractor is going to come and do it.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Thank you very much. And Attorney Reary, as soon as we receive that video, I'll make sure that it is shared with the commissioners as well.
Thank you, Attorney Green.
Thank you. The board will take this under advisement as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling item number 7, Jane Hung Inc., doing business as New Moon Villa Restaurant located at 15 to 19 Edinburgh Street. Date of the incident, June 28th, 2023, premise storing liquor without appropriate license on a beer and wine license only. in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Oh, hang on, you're on mute currently. I just asked you to unmute.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. You could please just identify yourself for the board.
Hi, I'm here with the manager, Wen Lin, and I'll be translating for him. My name is Eva.
Great, thank you very much. And who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this afternoon?
Dr. Hernandez if needed.
Thank you. Could you all please raise your right hand? Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Sure. On Wednesday, June 28th, 2023, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher and Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to the licensed premise unit, responded to the Moonvilla restaurant. Detectives then went there to speak to staff regarding a 301 complaint that had been received. Complaint was in regards to establishments serving alcohol past 2 a.m. Patrons parking on public sidewalk and loud patrons hanging out in front of the establishment into the early morning hours. While reviewing the restaurant's licenses and permits and certificates, detectives noticed the establishment's common victual licenses was limited to beer and wine. While looking at the refrigerator that contained their beer, detectives observed 3 bottles of hard alcohol, a bottle of rum, a bottle of cognac, and a bottle of orange liqueur. Detectives brought this to the attention of the person in charge, Ms. Mei Yihang. Ms. Yihang first stated that the alcohol was for employees to drink and then changed her explanation that it was used for cooking. Detectives informed her that she would need to remove the alcohol from the premise to bring it into compliance. As a result, what was observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice number 040525 for storing hot alcohol on premise without being authorized on common victuals license, beer and wine only. Ms. Yihang signed for and accepted the notice. It should be noted that while detectives were leaving the restaurant, detectives observed a vehicle parked on the sidewalk across from the establishment, and we issued a citation to that. The vehicle's owner came out and moved the vehicle. Those are the facts of that morning. And we do have a picture for board's inspection. It's the alcohol that we observed in the cooler with the beer. That's it.
Thank you, Sergeant Gallagher, and that photo is in the file as well for the commissioners.
Thank you.
Mr. Lin and Eva, would you like to address the alleged incident?
佢問你有人投訴2點鐘話飲酒，and 我未講完，and then 佢話佢入嚟嗰陣，佢去雪櫃見到3支即係嗰啲酒啊，點解咁樣？
即係你講嗰啲酒係喺嚟搞唆使嘅啦。
咁點解佢又問你點解有人投訴話飲？
我係2點鐘冇賣酒，我唔知佢後上邊度。你話邊個後上？Upstairs 2樓上嘅樓上仲點樣？我大佬講過，我哋2點鐘冇賣酒，嗰3瓶嗰啲酒呢，就喺度嚟搞衰唆事。
So he's saying that they serve alcohol. They don't serve it past 2 a.m., so they're not sure where their complaint was coming from. Maybe like the tenants from upstairs or something like that. And they're saying the hard liquor that was found in the fridge is used to make sauce for like the chicken and beef dishes that we have here.
Thank you. Is there anything further you would like to add before the board moves to questions?
咁你仲有咩嘢講？我想佢哋知道啊。
冇乜嘢講，就係咁。我哋第一嚟整咗事喎，你問解得唔得？我以後咪唔喐，你即係以後唔喐。
咁你有冇同佢講話唔可以擺出嚟啊？
冇擺出嚟，冇而家冇啦，你講佢啦。
So he said that moving forward, he'll remove the bottles of liquor from the fridge so it won't be out in the open. And if it is okay to still use the liquor to make sauces, and if not, then he can remove that as well.
Thank you very much. We'll see if there are any questions from the board at this time. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions?
Thank you. One question is, in the picture, there's a bottle of Hennessy's. Did you cook with that?
佢話個相咧有個 Hennessy，你係咪攞嚟整嘢嘅？
Yeah, yeah.
攞嚟整乜嘢
Soy sauce chicken.
？Yeah, he does use it to cook soy sauce chicken.
Okay, you are allowed to keep it in the refrigerator and you're allowed to cook with it, but you can't serve it to your customers.
你知道你係可以用係攞嚟整嘢，你唔可以俾人飲噶。
No, no.
He knows and he doesn't serve it to any customers.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon?
And yeah, just to be clear, it can't be displayed. It has to be a back of house thing.
同埋你唔可以擺出嚟，你一定要擺後邊或者擺唔可以俾人睇到。
冇人喺度。
唔係你唔可以擺雪櫃，你唔可以擺出嚟喎。
Okay.
Yeah, he understands now.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioner Saxon, any further questions?
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you very much. That board will take this under advisement, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And calling item number 8, ChoiceMart Inc., doing business as ChoiceMart, located at 181 Massachusetts Ave, date of the incident June 29th, 2023. Public drinking in front of licensed premise, a package store in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Attorney Green, members of the board, Michelle Yasmin here on behalf of the licensee.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yasmin, for being here. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective William Gallagher.
Thank you. And are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify?
Detective Hernandez if needed.
Thank you very much. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective Gallagher, if you could please proceed with the police report.
Sure. On Thursday, June 29th, 2023, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, Detective Eddie Hernandez, assigned to licensed premise unit, responded to Choice Liquors to speak to staff about a 311 complaint. The complainant stated that patrons were constantly drinking in front of the establishment. While pulling up the liquor store, detectives observed 5 patrons drinking from open containers of alcohol. 2 of the patrons are sitting on the ground to the left of the entrance, 1 patron sitting right next to the entrance, and the 2 last patrons sitting to the left of the entrance. Detectives spoke to staff and explained to them they have to monitor the front of the store to make sure none of the patrons were drinking outside of their premise. As a result, what detectives had observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued a licensed premise inspection notice number 040530 for public drinking in front of licensed premise. The person in charge, Felici Abu, signed for and accepted the notice. Those essentially are the facts. We do have a picture of the front of the premise, though it is kind of dark, and I'm not sure if you can make it out, but there was a person sitting right next to the door and, stemming for money with an open container. The other 2 were a little bit farther down, but those are the facts of that evening.
Thank you very much. Ms. Yasmin, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, please. Again, my name is Michelle Yasmin. I am acting manager in place of my father, who is currently traveling and taking care of a family matter, which is why he could not be here. I was not present the night of this incident. However, I did speak to Sergeant Detective Gallagher after the incident to try to get a better understanding of what had transpired outside that night. From what I understand and from what I can see in those black and white photos provided by the detectives, there was an individual drinking in front of the restaurant next door, which is to the right of our entrance, and then a couple individuals drinking in front of Citizens Bank, which is to our left. I also spoke to my staff that was present that night, who of course had no knowledge that any public drinking was occurring at the time of the incident. They had also mentioned that after the detectives had issued the violation, they took a look outside to take note of the individuals who were engaging in this activity. But by then it seemed most of those individuals had dispersed, and they only recognized one person who's been a repeat offender of loitering and is persistently a nuisance. This person was already banned from the store prior to this incident. And when it comes to the individual that was to the right of our entrance, they were definitely too close to our business for our liking, and they should not have been there at all. I've spoken to my staff and made them aware that this is unacceptable. And we do apologize that we allowed for this to happen. And it's certainly not a common occurrence. I do believe our staff was cooperative and responsive to everything the detectives brought forth that evening. I do think that, though, that it is important to acknowledge here that there is a degree to which we can and cannot control things that happen outside of our premises. Here are the things we were doing prior to the incident to prevent incidents like this from happening. Our staff is trained to monitor the outside area throughout the day to make sure there are no individuals loitering, causing a nuisance, or drinking in front of the premises. If they encounter an individual engaging in any of these activities, our staff has been instructed to ask individuals to leave the area. If the individuals do not cooperate, the staff has been instructed to call emergency services and report the activity. We also started a do not sell list years ago. This is a list of individuals who we do not serve and are not allowed in the store due to prior records they have in engaging in these activities. This helps us to have some control over any public drinking that may otherwise occur outside of our premises. And I say some control mainly because there are other ways these individuals can obtain alcohol that are, of course, beyond our control. Since the incident, we have taken the following additional measures to ensure that this does not happen again. We've continued monitoring the outside area in a similar but more frequent manner. Staff has now been trained to monitor the outside area on an hourly basis and to make note of any repeat offenders. We have also continued to enforce our do not sell list, which we have found to be very effective. We're happy to report that we have not seen any of this activity happening in front of our premises since this incident and have had no complaints made to us either. We are working diligently to ensure that this remains the case. I'd also like to point out that this is our first ever licensed premises violation. I did have actually three questions, if I may. Detectives, were any citations issued to the individuals who were found engaging in public drinking?
No, they were not. We had them dispose of the alcohol. They appeared to be homeless, and we ushered them away. We told them not to come back. And Pure Nature, we were there 2 weeks ago to bring this notice to you, and we did observe the front of the premise to be free and clear of any public drinkers, and we let your employees know that they were doing a good job. And that sounds like you've got a pretty good plan in progress.
Thank you. Thank you. My second question, I do understand that it is our responsibility to make sure the front of our store is clear of any public drinking, loitering, or any persons causing a nuisance. However, in front of seems to be a very loose term. For clarification, could someone please explain what is expected in terms of what our responsibility is in monitoring the outside area? Is there, for instance, a measure of distance we should be taking into account? I can assure you that we don't want anyone engaging in this activity anywhere near our store. It's not an image we strive for, and certainly not an environment we want to create for our customers. This is just something I'd like to be able to define to our staff so that we're all on the same page and so that we can do better when it comes to monitoring the outside area.
Madam Chair,
I'll jump in. Again, we don't have it defined by feet or measurements, but I'm looking at the pictures and it looks like one of the individuals is just outside your front door, sitting on the ground. So I think you have to use your best judgment. You need to clear people from that general area. Are you done with your questions? Because I have a couple of questions, but I don't want to interrupt you.
I just had one more question. It was just about the photo. It would be really helpful for us if we could see a color photo so that we can see if we actually can identify the individuals. I mean, we have a staff of 7 people. 6 of those 7 people have been with us for 7 years. So they know everybody in the neighborhood. And they would definitely recognize them if they're, discernible in the photo. So if there's any way we could get a color photo so that I could present that to our staff, that would be super helpful.
I can absolutely send a colored photo to you after this hearing.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I absolutely agree. The gentleman to the right of our entrance was too close. He should not have been there.
I believe that's a woman, I believe.
Oh, it's really hard to tell from those back photos.
We also have that photo on our phone, so if Mr. Green's photo was not good enough for you, we could probably come down with the phone and try to expand it for you at any time that's convenient to you.
Thank you so much.
On a night like this night, how many staff do you have working?
Every night of the week, we have 3 people working, at least 3.
Okay, and do they do rounds? Do they go to the front door and look to the left, to the right, and try to clear the area?
Yes, I do have one person in particular who's in charge. He works 6 out of the 7 nights of the week. I've left him kind of in charge of that, but they do take turns. They do communicate and you know, say,
Okay.
"Hey, time to check."
I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but you wanna make sure that someone isn't going into your liquor store purchasing alcohol and just sitting 2 or 3 doors down for the
Absolutely.
evening. So, you know, beyond your front door and your premise, you do wanna take responsibility for what's going on, especially if they were a patron or a customer. You wanna try to clear that, call police for help, and do regular rounds for that.
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Curran or Commissioner Saxon, do you have any questions?
Maybe more of a comment. I know you might be frustrated with the lack of definition. It's like, you know, this distance, but I think, well, first of all, it's, you know, we have 3 different people and we'll have 3 different kind of ways to deliberate. It's all gonna be very fact specific, you know. But I think for me, I don't want to create a situation where we say it's X number of feet away and you can just tell people to go stand on that line. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be judged on the feet. You're gonna be judged on what your efforts are to create a good environment in front of and around your store. So as long as you're making the efforts you said you're making, you know, you'd probably be fine. I wouldn't worry so much about an exact number. Just it's more specific to your environment, you know. And we have places where, you know, the premises is like, it's much better to send them off to the east than the west, you know. Send them in one direction and say just go that way, because we don't want them with the residential area that's in the opposite direction. So it's going to be specific to your environment, to the situation, to the people you're dealing with, but you're going to be judged on your efforts, not on any number of feet away.
Sure. Understood.
I may have missed it. Do you guys have a no loitering sign?
I don't think so. I'd have to double check on that, but I don't believe so.
Some signage might help. And do you guys sell nips, just out of curiosity?
Yes, but we have an agreement with the neighborhood. I believe the Fenway Civic Association sent a letter on our behalf. We have a longstanding relationship with them. We have an agreement with them where we don't sell any nips for under $2.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from the board at this time? Board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you very much, and thank you for patiently sitting through this very long hearing. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
These are all of the matters before the board today that will adjourn today's hearing, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thank you.
Thank you.